Hi, Toss. Thank you so much for joining me today. We're so excited to be speaking with you and talking about this such important topic of autism acceptance. Um, Tell us a little bit about your business, and what brought you to kind of entrepreneurship.
Definitely. Well, thank you for having us. We really appreciate that. And we're happy to talk about Autism Acceptance Month, and it's exciting. So we are the owner of TasThoughts LLC. Our business was really built on advocacy. As an autistic, non-binary, queer person with mental health diagnoses as well, we are very active in like the marginalized communities. As a person of color, we're always supporting that. So really, our company started on that. Like we wanted to make a difference in those communities that we're in. And after that, we built the platform and it just kind of evolved from there. Now we do provide copywriting and ghostwriting services as well as consulting services, not only to like-minded organizations and companies, but also companies that want to learn to be inclusive for autistic and neurodivergent people. In a nutshell, we're professional writers. We recently just published our first book for the autistic community. And yeah, we do a lot of writing.
I was hoping that you would mention the book. I was going to ask what's next for you, and I'm excited that the book is out. Right, it's out now.
It is. So it's the Autistic Survival Guide from application to hire. And what we did is we took our experiences as an autistic adult in the workplace, because we really found like there's a lot missing that they don't tell you about. And then you kind of dive into it and it's very overwhelming. So it's something that we struggled with. And we also know that a lot of other autistics struggle with. So yeah, we wrote a book. It's on Amazon. And it's also on Kindle Unlimited. So you can, if you have that, you can download it for free.
I love it. That's so amazing. And in that book, and I'm sorry, this is going a little bit off the questions we prepared, but is in the book, do we also talk through, you know, the side that we can learn from, right? As the person hiring, right? Are there tips in there for that of hiring people who are neurodivergent?
Great question. So, the book is really good for anyone. And we definitely would say that if you're wanting to hire more neurodivergent people, autistic people, then it can be that guide for you to understand what kind of information you might not normally give someone. So, specifically on things like orientation and training for a position, learning about the fact that there's a lot of paperwork and it's overwhelming. And some people may never have done their tax documents. They may never have done a portal where they have to sit through a training, and also understanding with reasonable accommodations for interview processes, providing those and offering people the option to request those. And so, yeah, those are some of the things that I think if you're wanting to hire neurodivergent and autistic people are really good to know, because sadly, a lot of times when it comes to interview accommodations, places just don't want to do it. But it's the law in the US. It is the law. It's part of the
Ding
ADA. It's the
ding.
law. But also it's offering that because it can be hard as a person that is autistic to ask for that, because you don't know what kind of response you'll get from the employer. So
Absolutely. Okay, I'm going to put us back on track. That was so great. I'm so glad that that came up. But let's talk a little bit more about you as an entrepreneur. So, has that always been the goal? Entrepreneurship?
it has. So one of the things, and this is actually really common in the autistic community, a lot of autistic people will be business owners or create their own services. And part of that is it's hard to function in the neurotypical world. It's kind of like being on Earth and then suddenly taking a shuttle to Mars and meeting a bunch of people and expected to work like them, think like them, and do as they do. And it just doesn't work. So yes, for us, we always wanted to own our own business and be full-time writers. And it's been a little over a year now working towards this goal. So it's great to now actually officially be professional writers.
Congratulations. It's so amazing. It's so amazing. I'm so excited.
It's been a journey.
Um, okay, next question. Do you think there are unique skills that neurodivergent entrepreneurs bring to the table?
Oh, yes, definitely. So this is kind of one of those questions that kind of has double sides to it. So are there unique skills that neurodivergent adults and workers and freelancers and professionals of all kinds will have? Yes. However, a lot of times people tend to look at it as kind of this glorified, oh, you're autistic, which means you can do this better than everyone else. But that's really not what it is. In the autistic community, there's diversity, just like there is in the neurotypical world. So you'll have creative people, artists, writers, innovators, strategic minds, people that do technology, people that do photography. There is a wide variety of skills that the community possesses, but the unique piece about being autistic or neurodivergent is you see the world through a different lens. So when you come to a problem, when it comes to problem solving, a lot of people in the autistic community are going to be better at that because we look at it differently. We can see pieces that other people might miss and bring that up and be like, oh, hey, by the way, this process could be improved with XYZ. Honestly, if an employer wants to hire someone that is autistic, give the floor. Let them take what you are giving them and make it better, because I guarantee you they will.
I love that. I love the unique opportunity for perspective there. I think every entrepreneur needs that. Every company needs that. So I'm glad you noted on that. What challenges do you face on the flip side of that as a neurodivergent entrepreneur?
Yeah, that's a big one. So honestly, the assumptions and the stereotypes the society has surrounding when you are willing to disclose, I am autistic, or I'm ADHD, or I have dyslexia. When you're willing to disclose those things publicly, you face a lot of discrimination automatically. It closes doors, which is honestly why sometimes people won't disclose. They might need reasonable accommodations at their job, but they're too afraid to lose their job by disclosing that they need something because they're autistic. And as an autistic worker, freelancer, professional, all the above, we have had people just say, nope, not going to hire you because we're autistic. People have just straight out said it, despite that being completely illegal, of course. We've had people say, oh, we saw that you're autistic, so we're not going to hire you. We don't want to deal with that. So you're going to get a lot of doors closed. You're going to get a lot of workplace abuse. So a lot of people that are autistic will face abuse from coworkers because maybe you don't socialize, maybe you don't fit in. There's a lot of bullying that happens in the workplace. And you know, it's sad to know that it's adults, but the workplace can be like a high school. And a lot of times autistic professionals are targeted by that. So they will have opportunities taken away from them. We have had opportunities removed just because, oh, give it to the other person that's less confident because they're not autistic and they don't have any kind of neurodivergency. The refusal of reasonable accommodations because they say, well, if I give it to you, I have to give it to everyone else. And that's not the reality, because the purpose of reasonable accommodations in the workplace is to make it equal, because it's not equal. Mm-hmm. And so when people refuse to do that, it's hard to maintain work and it's hard to feel safe at work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think bullying is one of those things that has no age restriction, right? And that's why the cycles continues, because we have adults teaching children to be bullies. So I'm right there with you. How has you're now working with ChatterBoss. How has your VA helped support you with some of those challenges that you noted?
Favorite question. So, you know what? I think the great thing about it is, as you know, we used to work with ChatterBoss. So it's kind of full circle. We went from VA and now we have a VA. And honestly, she's amazing. Oh my God. So, as an autistic adult, one of the things that can be hard for us, we have a cognitive processing delay. And so we process information a lot slower. And so it can be hard to keep up with certain things of running a business because of that. So one thing that our VA, can I say names or
Yes,
okay,
absolutely.
Lynn, huh, amazing. The one thing with Lynn that's great is she breaks it down for us. So we have that information easy to digest and it helps us keep up with the pace. The communication is a big part. I think when you have a VA and you're getting that support, having someone that you can communicate with is amazing. And for us as an autistic person, we're very direct and we need other people to do the same. So Lynn is amazing. I could talk about Lynn all day. We could sit on this question for hours, but I think the biggest thing we would say having a VA as an autistic professional is now we can keep pace with the business world better. And that's the biggest benefit of having that support.
I love that. My heart just is like
Oh,
growing for you and Len, because I love Len as well. I think she is
mhm.
outstanding. When I paired you guys, I was like, the heavens just, oh, like it was so
Yeah.
good. So I was so excited to be able to make that relationship
Mhm.
come to fruition. So that's such an honor for us on our side to see that type of pairing. And you've seen it on our end as
Mhm.
well. When it works, right? So
Exactly.
um, what advice would you give entrepreneurs about getting an assistant? I think you can talk to this on both ends,
Mhm.
but just would love to hear thoughts.
Definitely. I think the biggest thing, communication and the pieces, and I know everyone always says that, like, oh, you gotta communicate, but it's about how you do it. So when you're working with an assistant as from both sides, you have to learn how each other communicates in order to adapt as you need to. So, as an autistic person, you're used to having to adapt to the world and learn how other people do things. So, I think sometimes, as in from the autistic mind that we have, we're able to do that easier. And if you don't have that experience, you have to learn and talk about it. You have to say, hey, what kind of communication do you prefer as the business owner? Written, verbal? Do you prefer videos? Do you want a DM? And then vice versa. I think a lot of times there's this wall of like, I'm the business owner and you're the VA. You're here to do what I need you to do, but they kind of put you on a lower level. That doesn't work. You
Yeah.
have to look at it as a business relationship and your partners working together to hit the same goal. And there's not a hierarchy there. They're not
Yep.
less than you because they're the VA. They're equal to you because without them, you're not going to get this done. So you need to, as a business owner, say, how do you need communication in order to get this done? How I need, what do you need? Do you need me to make a video? Do you need me to make documents? What is it? And building that relationship based on honest and open communication without the fear of judgment. And the only way you can have that fear of judgment removed is if you're like this. It won't work
Yep.
otherwise. You have to view each other
100%.
equally.
100%. I could not agree with more with those words. No truer words have been spoken. It's so true. The corporate America idea is just dying, right? And there's a
Mhm.
reason for that. It's because it doesn't work. Having truly looking at it as a partnership, right?
Mhm.
And the other thing is like shifting your mindset to this is not my employee. This is a contractor, right? This is a
Yep.
service,
Mhm.
right? So realizing that this is not an employee relationship. This assistant or vendor is here to support, and we have a common goal. So
Exactly.
I agree wholeheartedly. Last
Exactly.
question. I want to honor your time. As a former VA, how did being an assistant help prepare you to become an entrepreneur?
Okay, so this question, I've been thinking about it a while, how to answer it, because I think we're just gonna answer it in our full autistic bluntness, and we're not gonna filter. You can always edit this if you need to. Um, it honestly, working as a VA and working in the executive assistant space for years, it helped us realize that we don't want to do it. We want to be on the other side of it. We want to be the person working, the building a business, building a brand, bringing in clients, and doing the company side of it. Because as an autistic person personally, that's a sentence. It's exhausting. The social interaction when you have to be in the work environment with an entrepreneur, and there is that expectation that you are going to do what they need. You're the expert, you're the VA, you're going to get this done. And that pressure is really bad personally for our mental health. And so working as a VA, we were like, definitely don't want to keep this up very long. We may be good at it, but let's just do it for ourselves and we'll do the same stuff.
That's okay though, right? Sometimes you don't know what you don't know until you try it, right? And I think that's why a lot of entrepreneurs start in their industries, right? They work for somebody, they're like, I don't want to work for them, I want to work for myself. And then they branch out, right? Obviously different industries in this case, but still I think there's a lot of truth to that for every entrepreneur. So definitely not editing that out.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, like on a positive note of it, working with entrepreneurs and working with companies and organizations from that side, you get to see the inner workings of things. So through the time working at like in the nonprofit sector, working as a VA with ChatterBoss and working with different entrepreneurs and business owners, you learn from them. Like they are where you want to be. And so you're able to observe and be like, oh, so this is how you do it, and this works better. So honestly, in that sense, being a VA it's a learning experience, like you said, and it helps you know like a trajectory to your goal. Like, I want to be like this person, and here's what I can learn from them to do it, and that kind of thing. So that's a good thing too.
Yeah, give you that little bit of a roadmap to aspire to. Yeah, I agree. Well, thank you so much, Tass. We appreciate you joining us so much. We are always in your corner, cheering on the business, cheering you on, and just so appreciative of you.
Thank you for having us. And honestly, to everyone watching, happy Autism Acceptance Month, and just have an awesome rest of the month. It's going fast.
Thank you so much, Tass. Have a great day.
You too.